but they're on the same team. It's the same thing with our Democrats and our Republicans. They're just doing the WWF on us, but they're doing it big time. If we can get them fired up, we can get the Democrats hating the Republicans, and get the Republicans hating the Democrats, then we're going to get them, and we can keep them fighting at each other's throat, not recognizing that that's the problem. Because see, when Jesus was on the earth, the Pharisees, the Herodians, the Sadducees, they didn't get along. But when Jesus came along, guess what they did? They united. We got to come together to take care of him, because he's the real deal. So it ain't until it ain't gonna happen until Jesus comes. We ain't gonna be able to do that. We can't come in and Jesus is gonna come and destroy this system. But we at least should be what? Not ignorant of the devil's devices. All right, I'm gonna stop. Any comments or questions before we close?
Oh, the Antichrist thing. You said, where is that at again? In John?
Yes. I think it was, let's see if we can find that. John.
1 John 2.
4? 2 or 14?
No, 2:23. 2:22.
2:22, yes, that's what it is. All right. 1 John 2:22. It says, who is a liar, but he that denieth the what? That he denieth that Jesus is Christ. He is what? Antichrist, that denieth the Father and the Son. All right. So that's important to keep in mind. That's the spirit of Antichrist. All right. It ain't got people say, well, these people are Antichrist, they don't believe in God. No, he ain't an Antichrist. He's just a fool. That's what the Bible says. The fool has said this. But if you want to know where the spirit of Antichrist is, you talk to people. You say, do you believe that God is a father? That God has a son? God has no son. Watch out for that. All right, so that's important to keep in mind. So yes, that's where that is. But if you see what Peter is trying to get us to see, remember, Peter was there when those religious leaders tried to embarrass Jesus, tried to make Jesus look foolish, tried to use all different kinds of things. They tried to trap Jesus. They pulled a woman that was caught in the very act of what? Adultery. And they didn't bring the man, which is another problem. Because they're not trying to fulfill a Mosaic law. Because if they were trying to fulfill the Mosaic law, they would have brought what? Both of them. But what they were trying to do, they're trying to trap Jesus. Socially, we don't stone people today. But Mosaic law said we should stone them. And so we got them trapped. You see how the world tries to trap God? This world's trying to maneuver it and put you between a rock and a hard place. And if they did it to Jesus, guess what they're going to do? Put you between a rock and a hard place. But Jesus can't be kept there. That's why we got to ask God for what? Wisdom. All right. So Jesus said, well, okay, fine. Mosaic law says stone him. Go ahead, stone him. But let me take the one that is without sin, you cast the first stone. And then he began to write on the ground. And what the Bible did, the Bible never told us what he wrote. And if they had told us, it didn't tell us what to write because it was for them to see. Mm-hmm. But whatever he wrote on the ground, they looked at that and go, I ain't throwing no stone. Right? They tried to trap Jesus with the taxes. Should we pay taxes or not? So that illustration that I made, who enjoys doing this? Nobody. All right. So what do? Jesus said, well, let me say, give me a stone, give me a coin. Whose superscription and image is on it? Caesar. Give the Caesar the stuff that belongs to him, but give to God what belongs to him. So this is the system we live in. So guess what? We got to go along with the system. You stand up and talk about, I'm not paying no taxes. You're going to jail. But that don't mean you got to be ignorant as to what's going on. Right? You stand up.
Good people up in jail too. God put them there in his holding place sometimes.
That's right.
And those people in jail need to be preached to too.
God hasn't forgotten anybody, and that's the thing. Because see, guess what? Peter has been where? In jail. Paul wasn't where? In jail.
Not jail, prison. That's different. That's hard.
And we talked about that, right? We did talk about that. The reality of it is that God knows all things. No, you may get by, but you won't get what? Away. And nobody that suffers in this world for wrong, because what did it say? If you're suffering for what? Righteousness' sake, don't you worry about it. If you are suffering for righteousness' sake, what did it say? It said, be happy. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. God's got that card already scripted. I see what's going on. He ain't tricked. Remember Joseph, right? Joseph suffered. His brothers lied on him, sold him off. Then he got sold to Potiphar, and Potiphar's wife lied on him, and that lie got him thrown where? In jail. And he stayed down there in jail until God said, okay, time is up. Let me give a dream to who? The king. God gave the king a dream. And God, in the dream, God didn't tell the king, get Joseph out of jail. But God's dream knew it was going to cascade into Joseph being not just brought out, but be brought on top. In whose time? God's time. Joseph spent many years suffering, difficult. It's hard sometimes because this world tells us we got to do everything to avoid suffering. What Jesus said. What did Jesus do when he was being whipped? Nowhere in the script. Let me see what Matthew said. And Jesus turned around and did a kung fu kick and then he turned around and jab smacked him. We don't see that in scripture. Jesus did what?
He prayed.
He took it. And then he said, Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do. That's how he took his suffering. They put the thorns of crown on his head. He took it. See, that's meekness because he had all the ability. He told Pilate, he said, don't you know that if I wanted to, I could call to my Father and he was saying legions of angels? So he could have got out of it at any time. He said, well, tough illustration, and I'm going to do this and I got to stop. Tough illustration. You get the barbecue grill, you put the coals out there, roll up the sleeve, take your hand in the red hot coals and just stick it in as far as you can. Now, at any time, you can pull your hand out. You have the power to pull your hand out. But if you say, well, as long as my hand is in there, my child will do well. I will sacrifice my life for my child. But in sacrificing my life for my child, I also got to suffer some things too. By his stripes we are healed. So I know I'm going to die for my child, but I also got to suffer some things. So I put my hands in the cold, and if I take my hand out because of the pain, the deal's off. I have to stay in there until the cold die down. Now I have the power at any time just to go, just like that. That's all it takes. But because I'm willing to not only die for my child, but also suffer. And that's the aspect that sometimes we overlook. How easy is it to just go? But Jesus like, put me all you want. Put the thorns on me all you want. You do what you want to do. I'm not pulling out of this. I'm going to suffer for my children. With God in the flesh state. And then he allowed when the coals died down, the whipping stopped. The thorns were placed on, and then they nailed him to the cross, and then he even died for us. So that's meekness, because you had the power to do what? To stop it at any time. So when you have great authority and you don't use it, but you rather suffer the wrong, that's not what this world teaches us to do. We're not trained in that. That's why we need the word to begin to, and that's why Paul said in Romans, be not conformed to this world. Don't take on the ways of this world, but be ye what? Transformed. That means you got to go against the current. You cannot think like them. And the problem that we have, and I might as well say, with a lot of our religious aspect. It's the same problem that Jesus had in his day with the religious aspect of his day. They are not buying it. They want this stuff here. They're trying to get this. I want all this stuff. That's where their hope is. How do you know I'm doing? And you hear people say, I know I'm blessed. I know God look at how much I got. All right? And I'm going to let that say it like it is, because I can get on that soapbox and we'll be here at 1 o'clock. But it's important for us to recognize, but it's important for us to recognize, like Peter said, he said, and we're done with this. You be ready to give an answer to every man. The reason for the what? The hope. What kind of hope? My hope is not winning the lotto. If I win the lotto, am I going to take the money back? No, I'm going to keep the money. But I'm not trying to win the lotto. I'm not going out there playing the numbers. My hope is not in trying to become popular or become famous. If people know me, fine, but they don't know me, that's not the agenda. What are you trying to do? My hope is where? In Jesus. My hope is that I know the Lord and the Lord knows me. Why? Because you don't want to be that individual. They said, Lord, have we not done all these things in your name? And Jesus said, depart from me, you worker of iniquity. I never knew you. Unfortunately, he said that's going to happen. But we don't want it to happen to us. We want to make sure the Lord knows us. We want him to call us in by what? By name. All right, so yes and no. All right, we're going to stop. Any other comments or questions?